Welcome back, guys, to Neo Racing. We're at Bathurst for round 3 of our Neo Racing Endurance Championship, and we're off. GR4 at Bathurst. Bidzster was second on the grid, Callum was on pole, but Bidzster gets a good start in the rear-wheel drive BMW. As everyone else falls for the first corner, I think that's Lil Yam on the grass in the background. We've got now Danny Quaver in third place. There's a lot of Megans in this. It's spot the difference, because there's all sorts of Megans. Danny Quaver and Callum coming down towards second corner. We've got Man of Steel side by side in the background as well, with Neil Farmack. As they go into the corner, Neil Farmack carries the speed around the outside, and I think he just tapped the wall there. So Man of Steel might be able to get back up the inside, back around the outside again, but yes, he does. There he goes, and we've got Seat 1 and Danny Quaver battling there as well. Bidzster's made a bit of a break for it with Callum. As we look at everyone else, and there's Mr. Slow One in the Jaguar number 27. Lil Yam in the AF Corsa liveried Ferrari. Neil Farmack in the red Megane. Man of Steel in a Scirocco, mounting the curb. Seat 1 in the BMW. Danny Quaver and TY and Callum all in Megans. TY's in the newer Megane. Danny Quaver there in the original Shape 1, and then we've got Bidzster in a BMW. You can spot Bidzster's 1 a mile away. He's got the RAC, the Colin Turkington livery on from British Touring Cars 2009. Callum in the Megane, in his own, flying his own colours. So does TY, Danny Quaver as well. Neil, Seat 1 and Man of Steel got a bit of a battle going on here, so let's have a look. Seat 1 and Man of Steel going down the straight, all in each other's draft. Let's take a look at the leaders, as we've got Callum, the straight line speed of the Megane, closing up on the BMW. As they go down to the first corner, BMW will be kinder on its tyres, but it'll be hard on its fuel as Bidzster defends into the last couple of corners. Callum's right behind him now, looking for a way round. As they go to complete the first lap, Bidzster's keeping a slightly defensive line, not wanting to let Callum have any single sniff of a way round. Mounts the curb. As they go out the last corner, will Callum have a look into the first corner? But let's have a look back here, see what else is happening. Not much else going on here, so let's have a look back at the front. Bidzster defends from Callum going into the first corner. Remember, this is a 1 hour endurance. And Callum got a bad run off the corner there. TY's going to come through and he'll have the overspeed, and he should have a bit of a draft from Bidzster as well. So going through, TY, see if he can hold it around the outside. It'll be on the outside for the next right hand corner that goes up the hill. As they go towards it, and then it'll be the climb up the mountain, but Callum keeps the inside, but TY's going to try and run all the way around the outside. Is he going to get it? I don't know. Well, I think it's showing that he's ahead. He's got the inside for the next one up the mountain, and he has. Good driving there from TY and Callum, giving him good racing room. Let's have a look a bit further back. We've got Man of Steel there, Mr. Slow One, and then we've got the two Belgian lads, Seat 1 and Lil Yam. TY's now having to defend from Callum, and Danny Quaver's all over him as well. Where did he come from? Danny's found some speed, and Callum hits the wall. It's all happening here. 3 front-wheel drive Megans battling it out. And Callum's going to try and go around the outside into the dipper. He's crazy. He's made it stick though. Good move from Callum. Fantastic move there. Trying to carry the speed into it and then round the outside into the start of the dipper down the mountain. Brave stuff there from Callum, as TY's going to try and stick with him, because I'm sure Callum will be on to Bidzster. Remember, we have 40 litres of fuel, 40 litres of fuel to start this race. So it's a rush to the first pit stops, and then the strategies will pay out from there. Will people go short? Will they go long? We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Mr. Slow One's fallen down to 8th place. He's lost a place there to Seat 1, and he's got Lil Yam closed up in the Ferrari as well. We'll keep an eye on that in a minute, as Danny Quaver's all over the back of TY here. TY takes the defensive line, and Callum and TY both chuck up a bit of dust, trying the 007 smokescreen way of doing things with Danny Quaver. As Danny comes down into the last corner on the backside of TY, trying to not to let him go. As Neil Farmack runs a bit wide there, but gets away with it. Let's see everyone else. Man of Steel. Seat 1 is into the pits early, so first one to stop, Seat 1. Lil Yam's past Mr. Slow One as well, so that's all unfolded. As we look at, there's Bidzster going through, Callum, TY, followed by Danny Quaver, will be in the draft as well. So yeah, it's a 1 hour endurance, and we've got fuel and tyres on ×4, so they will see tyre wear. And is Danny going to go for the move here? He's got the draft on TY. No. So if you do see some cars going a bit slower in a straight line, people have turned the fuel mix down to try and let the fuel last longer. I can tell you now though, the BMWs will be drinking a lot more fuel than these Megans. So not Man of Steel, it's Mr. Seek One there in the BMW, so he's pitted, and also Bidzster in the other BMW. He'll have to pit earlier because of the less fuel efficient BMW. Whereas the Megans can more or less go forever on a tank. As TY and Danny Quaver now together, they've got Neil coming up behind them as well in the trophy, Megane Trophy, which is the extended body kit version and the newer version. As they go around the awesome bit of racetrack, the Dipper, on this famous Bathurst circuit, going down towards the Forest Elbow at the bottom. And down the hill, Neil's got a good run out of that corner. He's going side by side with Danny down here. As they go down the hill and then up the other side down the Conrod Straight. Let's have a look at Bidzster and Callum. They're not close enough yet, so we'll keep a look at this battle between Danny and Neil coming down the Conrod Straight, over the little dip and onto the brakes. Crucial braking point. You miss that braking point, you are going to make a hell of an error. As they all go through, all front-wheel drives apart from Bidzster, Lil Yam and Seek One, who are in rear-wheel drives. Bidzster's in, so you can see even though he's been trying to save a bit of fuel in the BMW, he's in because the fuel isn't as good, but it does last a bit longer on tyres, which is good. So it works. There's perks either way. As Danny Quaver goes off onto the grass, starts mowing the lawn. You don't want to mow the lawn in this heat, Danny. It'll set fire to it. But I think Danny's on fire because he's absolutely going for it. So TY must be running a more leaner fuel mix because that looked a bit easy to me, and also Danny made a mistake out of the previous corner. So Bidzster comes out the pit on hard tyres. Now this is going to be interesting. Bidster's going long, whereas Man of Steel and Mr. Slow One in the pits they're coming out on more or less the same compound. Man of Steel comes out on softs. Seek One goes through to 8th place, and Mr. Slow One still in the pits getting fueled. He's just released now. He's on super softs again. So different strategies being played out here. So let's see what's going to work. As Callum is in the lead, trying to build up a bit more of a gap to try and gap the people when they come out of the pits. He's really pushing. He's on the dirt almost coming out of that corner there as he goes down into the Dipper. Can't afford to miss one little bit of apex, otherwise you are into a wall. There goes Danny, and there goes TY with Neil right behind him now. So Neil's on a comeback. Neil's on the move. And the two Megane trophies there. And TY running the pink and blue livery this season. So it's a quick 5-week season, then we're back onto another championship, which this man Danny Quaver will be hosting for the next season. So let's see what Danny's got in store for us. Whereas now we've got a good battle in store for us because Neil Farmack, who's the current host, is coming up behind TY. TY keeps left and almost too far left because he goes on the grass. Excuse me. As onto the brakes and round. TY keeps the position so far. Will we see any more pit stops? Callum's not coming in. Danny's in though. Danny Quaver's in. Changing them super softs, and also we've got Neil coming in as well, so a few pit stops happening, so we'll have to keep an eye on out where the gaps of people come out. Neil's managed to save a bit more fuel than Danny as well, so that might be the trophy just being a bit better on fuel. But there goes Callum, and TY is now into 2nd place. He's got to push now to try and get the gap for the pit stop. He's got to pit at some point and not be able to save fuel forever. Let's see where, here comes Bidzster out in the last corner. We've got Neil Farmack in the pits. Danny Quaver's on his way out, so Danny Quaver will be in front of Bidzster. Let's see where Bidzster's coming through now across the start-finish line. Where will Man of Steel and Neil come out? Neil is going to be ahead, I think. We'll see in this next shot. Yep, Neil's there, and there's Bidzster. So he's not done it. But remember, Bidzster's on a harder compounder tyre now. So Bidzster's going for a longer stint, so we'll see if this works out for him. Everyone else has decided to do a shorter second stint so far. But remember, we've got Callum and TY who are yet to pit out of the front runners. So this will make things interesting as Callum's pushing that hard. He's trying to take the walls with him and trying to make the track wider as he comes down towards the dipper. Let's have a look at TY, the difference to these corners. And I think we've got a few little battles further back. There's Lil Yam, he's ahead of the fellow Belgian, seat 1. So Lil's trying to watch the France-Belgium game in the World Cup at the same time as racing, so he's multitasking, so it should be quite hard work in that Ferrari, I would imagine. As we've got Seat closing up to the back of him. Going through. Seat running his own colours on there, I think. As there's Lil Yam in the AF Corsa Ferrari colours, as there's the BMW. They go down towards the dipper. I think that's Lil Yam making a mistake into the dipper. No, he just ran a bit wide onto the dust, but he's okay. And Seat goes completely sideways, well held to keep that out of the barriers. Very well controlled slide there, but that sliding is not what you want to do because it will slow you down. Callum is in the pits. He's made that fuel last. So, but we'll see if it's actually compromised his speed. TY's in as well. He's actually saved a bit more than Callum. So, we'll see how these pit stops work out. And here comes Danny Quaver coming down, and Danny's in again. So, I wonder if Danny had a problem at that last pit. Oh, he's run wide. That's not what you want. Danny's had a problem at that last pit stop, and I can tell you what it was. Is he put the fuel in, but he unfortunately pressed the button too early and pressed not to change his tyres. So he pressed the wrong button, so that's why he's had to pit again. So that's not done Danny any favours. Neil Farmack goes through. Bidzster's going through now. Let's see where these lot come out. Callum's out at the side of our side with Neil. Callum's out the pits and Neil's one in that place. He's not giving him an inch. Absolutely together. Callum's almost on the grass. In fact, he is on the grass. Neil gives him the hip and shoulder and says, "Excuse me, mate, that's mine." And I'm going through. Probably not taking into account the wide body on that Megane, but still. Callum down to second place, Bidzster third, and there he's here. TY and Danny Quaver coming out in the background, so that's not done Danny Quaver any favours having to come in and change his tyres again. But it will have been a quicker stop, so it'll have affected him probably by about 5 or 6 seconds. It won't have done much else, maybe 8 seconds tops. So as they come through up the mountain, Danny Quaver's having a look. He'll be a brave man to go past here, but no, backs out of it. TY just opening the door a bit, just teasing him, saying there's a gap there if you want it. No, there isn't. As they go down towards the dipper now. Looks like TY got a good run out of there. As they go down the dipper now. Let's have a look a bit further in front. We've got Callum there, Neil in front. And then we've got Bidzster third, with these lot catching him, because remember Bidzster's on a harder compounder tyre, but I'm not sure if that strategy is going to work out for him, because he doesn't really seem to be on any sort of pace. TY's, yeah, you can see there's the difference in tyres. TY catched him hand over fist as they go down the Conrod Straight, building up the speed to 150 miles an hour, 160 miles an hour. Build up that speed. Danny Quaver's having a look at TY, the speed of that older Megane, and he's straight through past TY. So whether that was draft or the fact that TY lifted and just thought I'll let him go because he's running a different tyre strategy. But as we look now at Bidzster into the little S's at the end, is that Callum's off? Callum's made a mistake. Callum's off, completely off the road. He's ghosted. He must have gone off to the left somewhere as everyone else streams past him. So he's down to 5th now. So lucky there for Callum. We'll try and get a replay on that. Right, here's a replay of what happened to Callum on lap 6. So he goes into the chicane, a bit hot on the grass, puts the power on, tries to recover, and then just keeps the power on and then understeers off, and then boom, just into the corner of the wall. If he'd have let go of the power, it would have recovered that. So lucky there for Callum. You see he loses places, and then that's it. So as we join back, TY is now being passed by Callum just after his little faux pas at the second to last corner, and now he makes another faux pas going wide again, so TY is going to be right back on him. And meanwhile we've got Danny Quaver past Bidzster. So it just shows you the difference in tyres. Bidzster's really struggling on that set of hards, as Callum now is on the move, trying to make up for that mistake he's just made. Meanwhile, a bit further back, Man of Steel, then we've got Lil Yam and Seek back here as well. Let's go back to the battle as TY and Callum are side by side. TY's fighting back against Callum and gets the place. 4th place is TY's for now, as we've got Bidzster closing up to TY now. Bidzster closing up to Danny Quaver. Up the mountain. Bidzster's quite fast through this section of the rear wheel drive. Really seems to suit the rear wheel drive this section of track, whereas the front wheel drive seems to be better down the dipper than everything else, as you'll see in a minute. To go down over the hill, the BMW's having to use a lot more road, and the agility of the McGann there through those sections of corners, as TY runs a bit sideways but gets away with it, putting on a bit of a show for us as Danny Quaver goes into the elbow. And out of it the other end, Neil's got a bit of a lead on him now, so just keeping a consistent pace. So Bidzster's going to be dropping back on them tyres, so I'm not sure if that was the right call for Bidzster, but we'll see how things pan out. Meanwhile, all the rest of them have made good calls, because they're all on the pace, all on a decent pace. Whereas now Callum's got us in the slipstream of TY. TY must have it on a lower engine mode, because he's just flown straight past him, Callum. TY must be on a fuel saving strategy there. Man of Steel's closing back up now. Man of Steel's back in the fight as he clouts those curbs. Callum will have to defend from TY now into the last corner, but no, doesn't have to defend too much. Oh, he's running too hot, that's why he's running too hot. On the grass, just taps the wall a bit, and Man of Steel says thank you, I'll take that, 5th place. And TY is even happier because he's got a bigger gap to Callum now. He can focus in front on trying to catch this man Bidzster in the orange BMW, and Bidzster's trying to focus on catching this man in the white McGann, Danny Quaver, who's on a really good pace. Really good to see Danny up this end of the field, really turn things around. Really, I think he really enjoys driving that McGann, as Man of Steel now is under pressure from Callum as they go up the hill to start the climb on the mountain. And Callum's trying a bit too hard there. I think he just needs to cool it off a bit. He's getting a bit aggressive with his turn-ins and clouting some of the walls. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for using all the track, but then when you're trying to make the track wider by hitting them, it's not going to work. As Man of Steel now is catching up TY slowly. Will he have a look into his next few corners? As they go round the fast left-hander, Callum's on the grass and using all the track he can down the hill. Battle of nerves down here. One mistake and you're in a wall, and you're losing 2 or 3 positions, as Callum's trying to go side by side with Man of Steel now, but Man of Steel's doing a good job in defending that position so far. But will Callum get a good run to the straight? Scirocco versus McGann on power. As we just look ahead, there's Neil, Danny, Bidzster, all the gaps between them, TY, and then this man of Steel with that man there, Callum behind him. 5 guys, burgers and fries. I don't think he's had much burgers and fries, because that Colt's as light as anything. And the side by side going into the end of the corner, down the end of the straight, into the brakes, don't go wide. Callum makes it stick. Beautiful move there by Callum, textbook manoeuvre, and now he's got to try and catch TY. Man of Steel's got to try and stick with these boys now. Remember, this is an hour's race, and I feel like it's a sprint race with the amount of action that's going on, and it's brilliant. Wouldn't have it any other way. There's Bidzster, 3rd place. Danny Quaver's there's still decent gaps out front. No slouch whatsoever as we watch these 3 into the first corner. Everyone nice and tidy through there. Let's have a little look at the Belgian duo at the back. Lil Yam there in 7th as Seat 1's come in, so Seat 1's in the pits. Mr. Slow One there, just coming down the end of the Conrod straight, doing well. Not bad pace from Mr. Slow One. As TY's getting passed now by Man of Steel and Callum, so something's gone on there for TY, so we'll try and get a replay on that. Right, here's what happened to TY on lap 9 when he got passed by Callum and Man of Steel. So obviously there's no mistake out the first corner, But just as they're going down the straight, you can see the speed difference of Callum and Man of Steel. So obviously TY's in a really, really lean mix. He's going for a proper fuel save strategy, so that's why he got absolutely mugged on the straight. As then we climb up the hill in towards the hairpin. And everyone nicely through there. As they go up the mountain, Man of Steel's all over the back of Callum, and Callum's all over the back of Bidzster like a rash. Those hard tyres are not paying Bidzster any favours here. I think the tyres are lasting just as long as the fuel is, so I think Bidzster's going to have to consider it. Yeah, he's definitely got to consider a strategy change as he makes a little error through there. Those tyres are giving up, and he's trying as hard as he can to keep these guys behind him as Callum goes side by side with him. And does he get through? No, Bidzster saying, no you don't, sunshine, I've been here a while, you are going around the outside if you're going around me. So that's it. So Callum says, okay, that's what I'll do, I'll go around the outside. And I think he's through. Bidzster's going to be in the draft now, as he's going to have Man of Steel all over the back of him as well, so he's going to have eyes everywhere. Callum's ahead, he'll be watching that orange blob in his mirror for moving out to make a move, and there it goes, moves to the left. He's not going to try and outbrake him on hard, surely. As he tries, yes, is he going to get it stopped? Over the curb, yes he does. Callum's all over the grass, not happy about that move, trying to get past him. Well, what? No, Bidzster's peeling off into the pits, so clearly those tyres are not working out for Bidzster. Danny Quaver's in the pits as well. Good little scrap there as that were going on, so Bidzster's in the pits. I think he's going to get rid of those hards. Danny Quaver's filling up there. Here comes Lil Yamak through the last corner. Man of Steel now. All over the back of Callum. TY looks like he's going to be all over the back of Man of Steel at this rate. As he comes up the hill, let's have a look and see where these guys go out. And Lil Yam's gone through, so they've not closed up that much. TY's obviously saving fuel because he's backed off from Man of Steel now after that run he got. So is Bidzster on hards again? No, he's on softs. Bidzster's gone back to original plan, whereas Lil Yam is now all over the back of Danny Quaver. But remember, Danny's just come out of the pit, so Danny will have fresh rubber. And as we look up the hill, Callum and Man of Steel battling it out. Callum goes very, very wide there. Man of Steel had a little opportunity, but no, it wasn't close enough to seize it as they go up the hill. And here's Lil Yam and Danny Quaver trying to make the track wider by tapping a wall. No matter how many times you try, Danny, it's not going to work. As they go up the hill, Lil Yam has got that Renault all over him like a rash. Up the hill. Let's have a little peek at this battle in front, and no, it seems to have widened out a bit, so we'll keep an eye on this Lil Yam Danny Quaver battle for 5th place. Danny's just come out of the pits, remember, fresh tyres. That Ferrari's got some old rubber on it. As they go towards the dipper. Now the mid-engine Ferrari's not as good through the dipper as McGann, as you can see, because the Danny Quaver's all over the back of Lil Yam. Whatever it is for put your foot down in French, that's what he needs to do. So these are French-Belgians that are with us, Lil Yam and Seat 1. Lovely lads they are, and they're good racers as well. As Lil Yam's proving here, as Danny Quaver goes side by side with him down the straight. I would imagine the Renault would have more straight line speed, and I think it does, but no, the Ferrari's no slouch. The Ferrari's staying with him. Neil's in the pits, as you can see on the left hand side on the graphic. Lil's not going to take this lying down, but looks like he's going to have to, because he's behind him now. Danny Quaver goes through, and this is where the fresh tyres will come into hand. You just watch the gap he pulls on him out here. Look at that, pulls out a good gap on him already. That just shows you the fresh tyres working. Callum is coming through across the line. Neil's still in the pits, but remember, he was a long way ahead anyway, so we'll see where he comes out. Here comes Callum through the first corner. Will he be out in front of Neil? Neil gets out in front. Neil gets out in front. So Neil resumes first place. Callum second, but he's on the move, trying to catch him up again. TY third. Danny Quaver fourth. Man of Steel's in the pits in 7th place. There's Bidzster on catch up now on those soft tyres, really trying, sliding that BMW all everywhere. Man of Steel in the Scirocco in the pits. Where's Seat 1? There he is, 8th place. Man of Steel will come out in 7th. Yep, 7th place. There's seat 1 in the BMW, and there is Mr. Slow on in the Jaguar. Bringing up the rear, but still doing a good job. As we now watch Callum and Neil. Neil's fresh out the pits. As they go up round the mountain section. Lovely section of track this, but you make one mistake and it's all gonna go pear-shaped as they go down towards the dipper. Megan in second place, trying to catch the one in first, and then that's the one in third, TY. Another Megan, fourth place. All Renault Megans until you get to Liliam in the Ferrari in fifth place. Then you've got sixth place, Bidzster on the move on those soft tyres, trying to recover from a strategy that doesn't look like it's worked out in this first half of this race. So he's on a recovery strategy now as Man of Steel comes down the hill in the Scirocco. And then you've got another BMW, Seek 1 in 8th place. And then, like I said earlier, Mr. Slow One in the Jaguar F-Type bringing up the rear. Still no slouch as they go down the... Lilian goes down the straight. And the Ferrari. And there's Danny Quaver, 4th place in the Megane. I think Lil Cam's closing on him unless Danny Quaver's made a little error somewhere. But Lilian looks like to be on the pace in that Ferrari. They go around the last corner. There's TY, 3rd place in the pink Megane. And then there's Callum on the move. Let's have a look at fastest lap. So last lap round, lap 11 was a 2:10 for Neil, 2:10.8, and then the last lap round for Callum 2:16.7. So Neil is on a charge here. But remember, he was fresh out the pit, so it makes a difference with the tyres, especially if you're running a softer compound, anything from softs or super softs. Then the times you'll do a couple of 2-minute, in between a 2:10 and 2:12, and then for a couple of laps, and then you'll be down to 2:14s and then even 2:16s near the end of the life of the tyres. Just shows you how much they go off the cliff. It's like watching the Pirellis go off in Formula 1. Once they get to those couple of laps near the end of the life, that they really start to drop down. As you can see here, Danny Quaver's all over the back of TY, all over the back of him like a rash. Comes up behind him and says, "Hello, would you mind using your right foot and getting a move on? Because I'm on a charge." He's on a charge to get back on that podium. There's Danny Quaver as he comes down the mountain section. And all seems to be good so far as they come down towards the elbow at the bottom of the hill. And then down the Conrod Straight, building up that speed as they go around the elbow. And there's the Conrod Straight, a little kink, and now foot's on the floor. Use all of the horsepower in those Megane's engines to catapult them down the hill. There's Neil going across the end, just to go to the end of the straight. There's Callum doing the same, and here's these two, Danny Quaver and TY. Danny Quaver's through past TY. So TY must be running a low lean fuel mix, trying to save that fuel, trying to go longer between stops. As Danny Quaver makes an error there, Danny Quaver's off, and he's off the other side as well. He's going to hit the wall. Yeah, does a repeat of what Callum did earlier. Hits the wall, unlucky there for Danny Quaver. Where's Bidzster? Bidzster's coming up on this as well. So Bidzster's going to be saying, "Cooey, remember me?" And he's dragging Lil Yam along with him, so Bidzster's got past Lil Yam as well. As now we go on board with Danny Quaver to see what happened to him on lap 12, because it was almost a carbon copy of what Callum did. So into the corner, just runs wide anyway, keeps his foot in, knows what you do with front wheel drive, but then again does the same what Callum does, keeps his foot on the power for too long, and then once he's on the grass, nothing he can do because it dips away from him, and he's into the wall. Unlucky there for Danny. As we go down the start-finish straight. And into the first corner, there's Bidzster on the catch-up of this man, Danny Quaver, who's just made that error that we just saw. So TY can breathe again for a little bit. See TY 2:17s, 2:18s. There's the people that are saving fuel. Same with Callum, 2:15, 2:16s. Whereas Neil 2:10, 2:13. So he's on it a little bit more. and then you've got Danny Quaver there last lap with 2:21 because he made that error, whereas Bidzster again 2:15ish, so he's taking it a nice easy pace. I know it says on the graphic there on the right hand side, if you look at the graphic, 2:13.1, and then underneath it says 2:10.2, but the faster lap it says the faster lap is the 2:13. That's because the 2:10 one was an outlap, or outlap from the pit stop on lap 9, if you look there, because the actual in-lap, the actual outlap, because of how it chucks you out the pits on Gran Turismo Sport, which I'm not really a fan of, how it shortcuts half the pit lane out and it makes the pit lane shorter, but it makes the lap faster. So that's what Bidzster must have picked up on as well, to change that strategy around. They come down, Callum comes down the straight, trying to catch this man, Neil Farmack. Just starting to spread out a little bit now, but I'm sure things will close up. It's Neo Racing, there's always some kind of close battle happening somewhere. As we've got TY there in third place, Danny Quaver with this man Bidzster chasing him down. And oh, Lilliam's lost it on the straight. Lilliam's completely lost it on the straight. And then there we go, Man of Steel goes flying past, just a difference in speed. We'll try and get a replay on what happened to Lilliam there. As we rejoin, Danny Quaver in fourth. TY's in the pitch, TY's in the pitch. There's Danny Quaver going through, and TY's in the pitch, but he's got plenty of fuel left on board, so obviously he's filled up once, and he's going to try and do a couple of stops between fill-ups, so just for tyres. I think this is what he's going to do. He's putting a little bit of fuel in, but I wouldn't imagine he'd put too much in, unless he prefers the car heavy, but if he does, then it's a very strange way of doing things. Let's have a look how much of fuel he comes out with. No, he's full, so he must prefer a full tank of fuel. He must alter the balance of the car for him or something. Don't know what that's all about, but TY there coming in for a fresh set and a super softs and a full tank, so that'll slow him down a bit. Whereas Callum there in second place, trying to save as much fuel as he can. He can get lower note on the engine, trying to save as much fuel as he can. Whereas these guys are just trying to burn it off because they're battling each other. Danny Quaver and Bidzster. Bidzster's finally on the back of Danny. Now he's on a different strategy. In fact, he's all over him. Look how fast he's caught him. He'll probably end up catching him off guard here. If he's not careful, Danny will be looking in his mirrors now and thinking, oh my god, where did you come from? But as we come down towards the dipper, I don't think Bidzster's going to be able to have a go down here. He's going to have to be patient. As he goes down the dipper, Danny runs a bit wide. Bidzster's going to have a bit of a better line out here. Will he ever look into the elbow? Don't think he's going to be close. No, he's not. He's not close enough for a look into the elbow unless he has a lunge, but he's not going to do that. As they go around the elbow, Danny makes an error, makes a mistake, hits the wall. Bidzster's going to be able to go through here, unless he's on a different fuel mix and trying to save a bit of fuel. But remember, the Megane's got some good speed anyway once he gets up to speed. Look at the power of the Megane, pulling away from the BMW. Now the BMW's in the draft though, can't get away from a good old slipstream. Bidzster pulls out to the left. This is going to be brave, going side by side through here. They give each other just enough room on the brakes. And Bidzster, is he going to get the car stopped? Danny Quaver tries to keep him around the outside. And no, that was never going to work, that. But Bidzster got through. Good move there by Bidzster. And Danny Quaver down to fourth. And will Danny pit? Yes, Danny's in the pit. So those tyres must have been finished. So Danny's in. We'll see where Danny comes out in retrospective to everyone else. There's Man of Steel, 5th place. Danny Quavers comes in with 22 litres of fuel. So he's took it down quite a bit. So he's pitting now to go and not get a longer pit stop with the fuel, because the fuel does take a while. There's Callum in 2nd place trying to catch this man, Neil Farmack, who's in control of this race so far. Good consistent pace. Callum's got good consistent pace also, trying to catch him. And there's Bidzster, who's been promoted to 3rd now. Man of Steel 4th. TY 5th. Seat 1 7th. Might even be 6th because Danny Quaver's coming out the pits. But no, Danny Quaver gets his foot down and manages to keep ahead of Seat 1. So I would imagine Danny Quaver will pull away from Seat 1 now with the tyre difference. comes Liliam, so he's obviously come out the pits as well. Mr. Slow One still doing well, not to be lapped yet, doing a very good job in 9th place. Decent lap times there, lap 12 with 2:15, so very good pace there. But remember, that was probably an out lap as well, so we're still averaging a lap of 2:19. That's not too shabby for Mr. Slow One. Good pace there from Mr. Slow One. British Racing Green number 27. As the Man of Steel and TY come down the dipper, almost together. Meanwhile, Danny Quaver and Seat 1 are running close together, but I would imagine Danny Quaver will pull away because he's got the better tyres. Let's keep an eye on... Oh, Man of Steel's... Oh, he's just tapped the wall, lost it a little bit under braking. That'll have lost him a bit of time, as you can see there. TY's closed up right behind him now. McGann versus Scirocco on power, and on the crib sheet, the McGann should have the power in a straight line compared to the Scirocco. As they go down over the hill, up over the hill, down the other side, in towards this braking zone. Very important. You miss it by a metre or so and you're going to run wide. But Bo, I think, Man of Steel only just about judged that one. He was... Oh, no, he's not. He's off the other side. Commentator's curse. He's off. And boom, into the wall. So unlucky there from Man of Steel. Bidzster's in the pit. 16 litres of fuel remaining, so he's took it down to almost the limit as well. So Bidzster's in from softs. We'll have to see where Bidzster comes out. But there's TY up to 3rd. Callum 2nd. Neil still in control of this race, in the lead. Man of Steel comes through in 4th. Bidzster's done. He's got the fuel going up now. And the reason why you can only see the Bidzster's car going up, because that is my car, because I'm commentating on myself. So you can see me, my fuel going up. There we are, 74 litres of fuel, and super soft Bidzster. Now as he comes out of the pits, equal with Danny Quaver. Straight out of the pits, side by side, but Danny Quaver will have the overspeed and get ahead. But remember, Bidzster's on fresh rubber by a couple of laps. So this is where Bidzster could play a role here. He's back up on the strategy. So once Man of Steel pits and TY pits, they should be back up towards 3rd and 4th. Whereas Danny Quaver runs wide and Bidzster just manages to avoid him and goes through into 5th. So unlucky there from Danny Quaver. Just got a bit excited there probably and runs wide again. So as they go round, remember his tyres are about a lap older than Bidzster's tyres. He's just come out the pits. Let's have a look and see if there's any other battles on track. There's TY, Man of Steel, 4th place, going down the hill. Let's check on the Belgian boys. There's Liliam 7th, doing well. Mr. Slow One's into the pits with 57 litres of fuel left, and he's gone for a full tank again. So obviously Mr. Slow One prefers the car heavy as well. Depends on the balance of the car, depends on what you like. So there goes Mr. Slow One out of the pits. As we've got a bit of a battle, I think we've got a bit of a battle going into the dipper. I saw 2 icons close together. That was just Bidzster and Danny closing up under braking. As they go down the Conroad straight, the top end speed of that McGann is 2nd to none. As they go down towards the little chicane at the end, there's Man of Steel. There's a little bit of dust kicked up there. That must have been from that man TY. Going down to the last corner, does Man of Steel pit? No, not this lap. Still stays out. Bidzster there. 5th. Will he be able to keep Danny back? He was in 6th place. Ramps the curb, plenty of curb usage there. These GR4s, they kind of behave a bit like touring cars. You can go over the curbs, you can do all sorts, you can abuse them. They're good cars to drive on the limit. You see him in the background there, there's Man of Steel. Let's see if we can find any of the battles on track. There's Neil Farmack, got a decent lead. 2:14, 2:15, 2:14, 2:15, so pretty consistent within a second each lap. There's Callum, 2:16, 16, 15, 15, 15. So very good consistent laps there from Callum. So clearly got the car working how he wants it. TY there, very varied on his laps there, TY, so obviously struggling with the car a little bit more. And Man of Steel a 2:15, then a 22, then a 14, 14, 14. So those 3 laps between 12 and lap 14 were very close. Bidzster, obviously his last lap was an out lap, and the lap before that was in the pits, but prior to that 16, 15, 15. So again, good consistent driving from Bidzster, who's literally trying to fold those wing mirrors in on the wall. And there's TY. Oh, little error there from TY down the dipper. Just a bit too much speed into that last part of the dipper, and then clips the wall on the apex, on the exit. So there's Man of Steel, who are closed up a little bit towards TY after that little error, but not if he does that. Just gives the Falcon Wall a bit of a tap there. As Neil Farmack's in the pits. Neil Farmack is in the pits from the lead. 7 litres of fuel, so he's run it right down to the brim. Almost, and Callum's in as well, so this is going to be crucial. Who is going to fill up longer, and is the gap going to shrink? TY is coming down the end of the straight into the little S's at the bottom, and very sideways in, almost carries too much speed on the grass, and then back the other way. He's not going to get it stopped now. He's going to hit that wall. Bang! There he goes. Unlucky there for TY. Just chucked him off one way, then spat him out the other. Man of Steel would take advantage, but he's coming into the pits. Neil Farmack is out. Callum's still filling up. Man of Steel's in. Where's Bidzster? There's Bidzster. Where's TY? TY's there. Where's Callum? Callum should be coming out of the pits in a minute. There's Callum. Just come out of the pits there, and TY's behind. So the gap has increased for Neil slightly there, actually, over that pit stop. So he must have not filled up as much as Callum did. But TY there in 3rd place. Bidzster moves up to 4th. Danny Quaver 5th. Liliam. Where's Liliam? Oh, Man of Steel's there in 7th. He's just come out ahead of Liliam, so you'll see Liliam in the background in a minute. There he is. And the Ferrari. Seek 1 8th place in the other BMW. Obviously not found a sweeter setup as Bidzster has for the BMW, but still going well. And there's Mr. Slow One. Keep checking up on him. Highway to Hell, it says on his car. Probably a big AC/DC fan. Mr. Slow One, and if you can't read that number 27, you want your eyes checking because it's huge. As TY in 3rd place there. Let's have a look. So we've got Neil, Callum, who's actually been got TY closing up, but TY, remember, didn't pit this last time round, so he's on he's going longer and on fuel probably as well. Bidzster 4th, obviously doing the softer tyre now, after doing the harder on the 2nd stint, so he's pushing hard now. 2 minute 12.4, definitely pushing hard. Fastest lap of the race. I know it was a 2 minute 9 the previous lap, but remember, that was an outlap. The outlaps are faster on this one because it cuts half of the pit lane out when you exit, which I don't think is very good, but it doesn't give you the true pit lane size or time difference. And also it affects strategies as well, because if you've got a longer pit lane, you can get away sometimes without doing a race where you don't pit as much and strategy comes into it. But they've kind of took that out of it, Gran Turismo Sport, but never mind. Hopefully they'll fix that for Gran Turismo 7 or the next future generation games. As Neil starts lap 18 of this 1 hour race. We are 40 minutes into this hour race, so 20 minutes to go. Callum then 2nd there, really short shifting. TY's in. Plenty of fuel on board, so it'll be a quick fuel stop, so it should be a quicker stop for TY this time round. Danny Quaver 5th. There's Bidzster moved up to 3rd. After TY's pit stop, there's Danny Quaver 4th. Let's keep an eye on TY. This is going to be a quick fuel stop. Let's keep an eye on it, because there's not going to be much fuel, even if he goes up to the top again, which I think he is. That must be a full tank, because it took a while. Yes, it is. It's a full tank of fuel. And he's out ahead of Man of Steel, and he's on the chase of this man, Danny Quaver, now. So he's out of the pits. Let's see how close everyone else is. We've got the Belgian there of Liliam in 7th, Man of Steel 6th, TY 5th, so we've got all them 3 on the same straight, more or less, which is good. And then Bidzster coming out of the hairpin on his climb up the mountain. Callum almost at the top of the mountain, and about to work his way back down the other side, down the dipper. And the man in the dipper is this man, Neil Farmack, the bright red Megane. Can't miss that. As they come round towards the elbow, Forest elbow, and then down the other side. Callum's doing the same. Bidzster in the rear wheel drive can't push as hard as the front wheel drives down here, but his tyres overall should last a bit longer with the rear wheel drive. 2 minute 12, 2 minute 13, some good laps there from Bidzster. He's obviously going for an all pushing hard strategy. He's pushing hard, he's pushing that hard, he's almost tapping the walls on the way out the corner. Danny Quaver here. Runs a bit wide there, but gets away with it. Here comes TY running a very conservative strategy. Man of Steel in the Scirocco. He's had a couple of little run-ins with the wall, I think, because he's got a bit of a greyish car on this right-hand side, as you'll see from a longer shot, if we get a longer shot. See there, just there, the damage on the side of Man of Steel's car. I've had a few run-in with the wall there, you can see there. As you come over the top, there's TY's car. All a little bit spread out at the minute, but I'm sure things will close up as Neil goes over the little rise on the first section. Personal best of the race. In fact, that was the session best of the race. Fastest, purple. Danny Quavers in the pits from 4th place. TY moves up to 4th now. Man of Steel moves up to 5th. Danny down to 6th. He's in the pits. Let's see if he takes any fuel. He's definitely going to take tyres. Nope, no fuel. Quick turnaround for Danny Quaver. There's Man of Steel's there in 5th, and TY coming out of the first corner as well. So it's all going to be put to play for here. Danny Quaver flashed his light saying, "Yoo-hoo, I'm coming for you." There's Callum up the hill, and let's have a focus on this battle here between these lot. I'm sure these lot will be a bit closer in a couple of laps, or maybe even at the end of this lap, because TY is taking a conservative strategy. Danny Quaver's trying to bottom his car out on all the curbs, trying to flatten his floor out. As they go out the hairpin. And up the hill. And down the other side. Approaching the downhill section now. Man of Steel twitching, pushing hard. There goes TY in 4th. Let's have a look. Danny Quaver's closing up to Man of Steel now. It's closing on the new set of tyres. There's Danny Quaver there. You can just see the grip. Pulls it round on the power. Slams the power on the straight. Scirocco versus McGann. We all know the McGann has got the power. As we're just under 15 minutes remaining. Go down at the end of the Conrod straight down towards the braking zone. Man of Steel's catching TY. Danny Quaver's catching Man of Steel. Bidster's in. Bidster's in the pits. Low on fuel and he needs a tyre change. So it's going to be a big fill up for Bidzster. I wonder if he'll fill it up half or do a full. We'll have to see. As Man of Steel maps the curb into the last corner. TY kicks up some dust and says, "Here you go, boys, 007. Bidzster's still in. He's still in. These boys are going to jump him. Still filling up. Lilliam's in as well. Yeah, these boys have all cleared Bidzster, so they move up a position. Bidzster goes down to 6th. But he's going for a full tank, Bidzster. Bidster's gone for a full tank and soft tyres. He's going to be going on that fuel probably to the end. So that's Bidster's next stop will be a quicker one. So we've got to watch out for that as Danny Quaver and Man of Steel so close. Swapping a bit of paint there, I think, as well at the same time. And Man of Steel's going to have to give it up here because Danny Quaver's got the overspeed round the outside and keeps the... Oh, no, he doesn't. He runs wide into the wall. Man of Steel says, "Thank you very much, sunshine. I'll take that any day." And goes round the outside and gets Danny Quaver back after that little error. Danny got a bit overexcited there, I think. Just needs to calm it down, rein it back a bit and try again. TY 3rd place, still going on. Let's have a look. Neil in 1st place, or down the Conrod straight. Callum just coming onto the Conrod straight. So Neil's got a good gap here from Callum. Obviously it helped that Callum made that mistake earlier in the race, but still good pace as Man of Steel goes off down the dipper. Makes a little error, but I don't think he's gained any time from that at all. No, he hasn't. He's not gained any time from that. So he shouldn't get a penalty or anything for that as he goes in to the Forest Elbow. Danny Quaver tries to make contact with the wall on the inside of the Forest Elbow, trying to take the tight line out and down the straight. Scirocco versus McGann. Both give each other space. Here comes the McGann. on the power and the overspeed from that little error. And is he going to get through? Man of Steel's on the correct side if he's still alongside. Will he chance it? Onto the brakes. Yes, he is. He's going to keep fighting back up the inside. But no, has to fold. Has to fold to Danny Quaver. He wasn't alongside enough to make the move stick. Anyone going to go in the pits this lap? No, everyone's going to go round again. Bidzster's on the move. On that softer tyre, and he's going to the end on the fuel as well. Liliam 7th, Seek 1 8th, so they're closer now. Seek 1's caught Liliam up after that little mistake from Liliam earlier on the, quite a big mistake actually from Liliam earlier. Danny Quaver goes on the gravel. Man of Steel says, I'll follow you, Sunshine, if that line's quicker. They both end up mowing the lawn slightly. That's why you don't copy the driver in front, Man of Steel. They go down the straight, but still they're catching TY again. TY must be going so conservative on fuel. No, there's no speed in that McGann Trophy whatsoever. Seek 1's in the pits. Liliam goes, has got a bit of a breathing space now. Seek 1 into the pits because they were lower on fuel. There's Mr. Slow One. Got blue flags because Neil Farmack's coming up to lap him at some point, so he's just behind him there coming out the last corner. So, but a good effort from Mr. Slow On. He's not been lapped to within the first half an hour or first 40 minutes of the race, so a good showing there from Mr. Slow On. It took him almost until the last 10 minutes to be able to put a lap on him, so very good pace. Because remember, we're all different skill levels here at Neo Racing. We've got some people that are record breakers and some people that are not middle paced, and some people that are not up to speed, but still we cater for everyone. We like to try and get everyone involved. It's not all about winning, it's about the taking part. Actually, no, sorry. It is all about the winning, but taking part is a good bit of it. Got to be in it to win it. If all those failed to finish, that man, Mr. Slow On, would win. And he's coming into the pits, Mr. Slow On, so he's making a pit stop. Let's see what tyres he goes on as he goes into the pits. And yeah, he's on 36 laps of 36 litres of fuel remaining, so that should be a decent stop for Mr. Slow On there. As we've got Neil going through, Callum 2nd, Danny Quaver 3rd, 4th TY, Man of Steel 5th, still trying to chase him down. Bidzster 6th, visually closer, and Man of Steel's visually closer to TY as well. So we'll see how this pans out. Meanwhile, there's Seek 1 going down the dipper, Liliam on the straight, so that's a bit of a gap between the two Belgian boys now. As Man of Steel comes down the straight, the front straight. We're on lap 23. 9 minutes, just under 9 minutes remaining in this race. So strategies now and pit stops will be crucial, these last couple of stops. See Bidzster in the background closing up there. There's TY 4th place. Session best for TY. He's obviously just decided to put his foot down. It's a bit wide though, so unless it was just a fluke for the first sector, to tap the wall a bit there for TY as well, so a bit of a rare mistake there from TY. Oh, and he does it again, so clearly them tyres have had enough. They must have had enough with him doing those kind of mistakes. It's not like TY to do that. As Man of Steel comes through in 5th, he's trying to catch the man in front of him. Kicking up the dust. Every millimetre of track counts. Through the fast right-hander. Very bad corner if you get it wrong. Into the dipper. There's TY just ahead of him. Blue flag's waving, so they're coming up on a back marker. It must be Mr. Slow One who's come out of the pits. We should be able to see in a moment. There he is, just ahead of Danny Quaver. So blue flag's waving nice and early. Neil Farmack in the pits. 11 litres of fuel remaining. This will take a bit of time, this stop, because he's got to get enough fuel in to get to the end of the race. Callum goes through the first corner. This is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be close or not. But remember, Neil's got to fill up. So Callum goes through. Will Callum have enough fuel on board to get to the end? We'll have to see. Neil's out. Not a long pit stop for Neil at all. Only put half a tank in. So he's obviously thinks that's going to be enough for him to get to the end of the race. So he's doing that. Callum takes the lead. But I'm sure Callum's going to have to pit before the end. He'll not have enough fuel to finish it. Mr. Slow One goes nice and slow on the left-hand side, letting these leaders go through even though he's ghosted. So good sportsmanship there by Mr. Slow One, as always. True gentleman. Letting these fellows go through. Man of Steel 5th place, and Bidzster is closing. Bidzster's closing on Man of Steel. Danny Quaver 3rd. Got a gap now. But he's going to have to come into the pits as well, because I don't think he'll have the fuel to last. 2:13.4 a couple laps ago for him, Danny Quaver, so he's obviously got some decent pace. TY's fastest lap of the race so far, last time round. He is on it. So it was obviously just a bit of sloppy driving the last lap by TY, but he's got it together now. Man of Steel, 5th place. Getting caught by Bidzster.